If you're anything like me, you've scrolled for hours trying to figure out if your ideal home is organic modern or cottagecore, and struggled to make your vibe fit perfectly into a specific design box because you like too many different styles to confine yourself to just one. Well, here's the secret. All of those terms are just subjective labels. They're rules someone else made up. Your home can and should be the most accurate reflection of you. So I'm going to guide you through 3 simple but very useful self-reflection exercises to help you get there. Then I'll show you exactly how to translate those discoveries into a tangible blueprint for a home that actually feels like you. Before we jump in, let's talk about why this is so important. Trends are exciting, but they're also fleeting. And that's the point. Trends are designed to sell products. Relying on them is like building a house on shifting sand, and the result ends up being a space that feels flat, predictable, and lacking any real character. But a home built around your personal story is timeless. It's about creating a sanctuary that participates in your real life. When you learn to trust your own gut, you start making intentional decisions that honor who you are. This is how you create a home that feels soulful, satisfying, and uniquely yours. So let's get started. Our first exercise is about becoming a detective in your own life. Your true preferences are already hiding in plain sight. You just have to know where to look. We're going to start in 2 places, your favorite real-world places and your saved digital places. First, think about the places where you feel most at ease and inspired. This could be a favorite museum, a specific city you traveled to and fell in love with, or even a scene from a favorite film. Oftentimes, the best inspiration comes from our past. Maybe it's your home growing up or the house your grandparents lived in. Whatever it is, picture that place in your mind. What are the common threads you see? Are you drawn to the rich, dark woods and warm lighting, or is bright and airy more your vibe? Note the colors and textures that come to mind. Is it the worn leather of an armchair, the smooth concrete of a museum, or maybe the lush greenery of a garden? Next, open your phone. Go to your saved folders on Instagram, your Pinterest boards, your camera roll, but here's the key, don't just look at interior design images. Look at everything. Look at the art you've saved, the nature photos you took on a walk, the architecture that caught your eye on your last trip. What patterns are emerging? Are the images you save more ornate or dialed back? Dark and moody or light and eerie? Are there recurring shapes like arches and curves, or is everything more linear? Now combine these findings and start writing down what you're seeing. The colors, textures, and moods from your favorite places and your saved images are the raw data of your personal style. This isn't about choosing industrial because you like a specific cafe. It's about identifying the core components, the feelings, colors, and shapes that you gravitate towards in all parts of your life. Write these down. These are your first building blocks. If you're finding this exercise helpful and you're ready to stop making design decisions based on someone else's tastes, take a moment to hit that subscribe button. We're all about creating beautiful, personal, and functional homes here, and I'd love for you to join our community. Now that we have some visual clues, let's move from what your style looks like to how you want it to feel. This might just be the most important step because a home's ultimate goal is to support your well-being. How a room makes you feel is far more important than any design label. Take a minute to close your eyes and imagine walking into your ideal living room. What is the one dominant feeling you want to experience? Write it down. In this exercise, don't think about specific objects or colors. The objective here is just to hone in on a feeling. Now let's expand on that with 3 to 5 keywords that further describe this feeling. Are you searching for a space that feels calm, restful, and serene? Or do you crave a home that feels energetic, creative, and inspiring? Maybe you want to feel cozy, safe, and cocooned. The one rule here is not to use design words. Don't write modern or traditional. Use emotional, sensory words: inviting, playful, elegant, peaceful. These feeling keywords are the backbone to this design blueprint we're hoping to create and will guide every design decision you make. A quick note here, when you're working with an interior designer and not DIYing it, design terms can actually be really helpful because feelings and emotions don't always relay the message clearly to another party. But since I'm speaking to you, the person who's trying to figure this out for themselves, the more subjective the better. The only one that needs to be able to decode this roadmap we're creating is you, so it doesn't matter if it makes sense to anyone else. Okay, once you have your words, connect them to physical sensations. If you wrote calm, what colors create that feeling for you? For many, it might be soft blues and greens. If you wrote energetic, maybe it's a pop of vibrant red. Again, this is totally subjective, so try and look inside and don't be too heavily influenced by color theory or pre-existing norms. Think about textures too. The feeling of being cocooned might translate to soft, touchable materials like wool or velvet, while fresh and airy might lead you to linen curtains and smooth natural wood. This exercise shifts your focus from recreating a look that already exists to creating a unique and personal atmosphere. You're no longer asking, is this in style? You're asking, does this support the feeling I want to create? The more you work at developing a clear and personal objective, the better you'll be at filtering out all the outside noise. Your home should tell your story. It should be a living collection of your past, present, and future, because a space filled with personal meaning is a space that can never go out of style. This final exercise is about gathering the artifacts and narratives that make you, you. These are the layers that create a rich, authentic space and separate a home from a house. Start by walking through your home and taking inventory of the things that already hold a story. This could be an heirloom from a grandparent, art you bought on a memorable trip, or your book collection. The goal is to be intentional about what you display because these items will become the heart of your home. Next, think about your passions and your lifestyle. Are there parts of your cultural heritage you want to honor? Are you an avid gardener who wants to be surrounded by plants? A musician who needs a dedicated space for creativity? Your home should be designed to support the life you actually live. Okay, you've done the work. You have your visual clues, your feeling keywords, and your story elements. So how do we put it all together into a cohesive vision? This is where the mood board comes in. It's your visual blueprint, a tool to organize your ideas and keep you on track. You can do this physically with a cork board and magazines, or digitally with a tool like Pinterest, Canva, or Photoshop. It can be totally free-form, just a loose collection of inspirational photos, colors, and patterns, or more structured like a bullet point Word document that lays out your story in a more linear way. Remember, this is just for you. No one else is going to see it, and our minds all work differently, so only you will know best how to lay out all the information you've gathered. However you decide to construct it, make sure to title it with your feeling keywords, not a style name. For example, call it calm, cozy, natural, not modern farmhouse. Now start gathering images, but with a new intention. Instead of searching for living room ideas, search for your core components. Search for warm white paint, walnut wood texture, or olive green velvet. Be specific. The trouble with the way social media algorithms work today is that it's constantly feeding us more of the same. It makes it hard to discover anything new and fresh, so make sure you use your keywords to guide your search and tailor and adjust as necessary to push the search results in the direction you're trying to go. Save images that contain the specific colors, materials, and furniture shapes you identified in step 1. Find images that evoke the feelings in you from step 2, and look for individual products that continue to tell your story. Now these are aspirational products, so don't worry about cost here. They are not necessarily pieces you'll buy, but guidelines to follow when you are ready to purchase. Next, add what you already have. Upload photos of your heirlooms, your meaningful art, the personal items that you want to display that matter to you. Placing these next to new potential purchases ensures your personal story remains central to the design. Once you have around 20 images, it's time to curate. Step back and look for harmony. Start removing anything that feels out of place or doesn't align with your core feelings. Now that you've distilled your story down to a more curated collection of tangible images, pull the most common colors from these images, ones you've probably noticed repeating in many of the images you've been selecting. I would suggest trying to limit it to no more than about 5 shades that will be the basis for your dedicated color palette. Once your palette is laid out, you may feel it's too simple or too complex, so feel free to adjust from there, adding and removing as necessary. Maybe you've pulled a ton of browns, but feel you actually want to have more variety. Play around with adding a pop of color to the palette and see how well you feel it sits with your existing board. When you're first starting out, I would advise keeping your palette down to 5 colors max. As you progress in your design journey, it'll be easier to make many colors sit harmoniously together, but that's a far more advanced stage of design, and we're focusing on a more beginner, entry-level model here. Now you'll want to arrange your final images so they feel balanced, cohesive, and clear. This is your mood board, and it's now your guide moving forward. Before you buy anything, hold it up against your mood board. Does it fit? Does it align with your colors, textures, and most importantly, your feelings? It's so easy to get sidetracked and lost and confused once you're out there making actual decisions that cost sometimes great deals of money. I find myself second-guessing things and getting scared, many times completely backing down, or a lot of times wanting to completely change course because some new trend has popped up that piques my interest. But anytime I succumb to that sort of surface-level doubt or influence, I usually regret it. By having a mood board that you've taken the time to build with care, really digging deep and thinking about what's right for you, you now have a guide to turn to, something to point you in the right direction when you're in the thick of it. It ensures every piece you bring into your home is a conscious choice that contributes to your unique and personal story. Probably the most significant bit of advice I can offer is to take your time. Finding your personal style is a journey of self-discovery, and like any journey, it takes time. But it's also incredibly rewarding. Too often we fall into the trap of feeling that our houses need to be fully realized before we can have people over, and I'm very much including myself in that. But designing in a rush is the perfect way to end up with a generic house. A truly personal and timeless home is one that is collected and curated slowly and deliberately over time. I hope these exercises have empowered you to start that journey. And if you want to see some of this in practice and dive deeper into specifics, consider subscribing to our channel. And to help others in the community, please share your 3 feeling keywords with us in the comments. It's so inspiring to see the different atmospheres everyone wants to create, and we can all learn from and be inspired by each other. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.